Hello, and welcome to this new lesson on Microsoft Planner, where we will learn how to integrate our plan for the Congress event into the SharePoint site, which was automatically created when the plan was established. I am in my Planner plan as usual to follow this course on Microsoft Planner. Now I will perform this activity of integrating the plan into SharePoint. I will present it in 3 points, as we discussed in the previous lesson. First, we will examine the site that was automatically created in SharePoint when the plan was created, and we will also explore some minor features within the SharePoint interface. Next, we will implement the plan integration in SharePoint, as the site has been created automatically. But in the SharePoint menu, there is no link to directly access the plan. This operation is done manually. Then we will configure the modules that we want to create to collect the data from our event, Congress. And here we will also write an activity in the event's plan. Obviously, in the pre-Congress phase, that is to say, we will set ourselves goals, objectives on the things we must accomplish. To create, for this purpose, modules that we want to build to collect data. Therefore, we will also configure them in forms without needing to kex to establish them. All the module entries simply by creating them and determining what we want to do, because we now need to move quickly in this first phase just to connect all the applications and to become operational so that we can work effectively and Tumen. So let's organize this Congress well. Now we move on to the Congress plan, and the first thing we want to look at is the SharePoint site. We also saw it in the previous lesson. Here we do it in a specific way. The focus on the SharePoint site that was created automatically. I can click here, open SharePoint, and look for the site as we saw in the previous lesson, but I'll show you that we can also do it directly from Planner. I click on the dots, select the site, and by clicking on the link, it takes me directly to the site that was created when the plan was established, carrying the same name we assigned to it. We assigned Plan. In the plan, how can we navigate? From here, we can access the notebook interface. From here, we can access the documents, which will include all the attachments that will include in the various activities of the plan. We will also be able to see that from here. We can create posts, links, photos, videos, and comments that might be of interest for the Congress topic, as well as for the activities which must occur to organize it. This relates to the display of the created SharePoint site. But as I mentioned, there are no links in the SharePoint site menu. That leads us directly to the plan. From the planner, we notice that a link has also been created automatically, which leads us here. That is not the situation with SharePoint. We need to do it manually. We will do it right away. Let's click on New Plans here. And at this point, on the right, this window opens where we need to choose to integrate an existing plan. So let's click on this text here and choose the plan it suggests to us automatically, because this SharePoint site is connected to this plan. Therefore, it will only offer this plan to integrate here, but we need to do it manually. We also choose to view it here, specifically in the list of links on the SharePoint site. At this point, we click on Create, and as you can see, the plan has perfectly integrated into the SharePoint site, and now we can perform all possible activities here. From the scheduler. So we can go directly from here to insert a new activity into correct another one. Thus, we could do everything that can also be accomplished from the planner. Since this title is quite long, we will make a small modification. We click here on Edit, and instead of the title, we simply write Planner. This is the plan related to the SharePoint site. So let's save. And at this point, if we truly want to access the Planner interface, since we want to see the full plan, we can click here, and this link will lead us directly to the plan in the planner to view it in its entirety. Thus, if we were in other sections of the SharePoint site, we could go directly to retrieve our plan as we want to do something in the Planaire plan we just integrated in our SharePoint site. He also mentioned that we could do something in the plan of Planaire that we just integrated into our SharePoint site. He also mentioned that we aim to undertake a third activity, which means we want to determine what the modules are that we want to create to gather data. Because when we accept something to organize a conference, we need to collect a lot of data. These activities can be quite time-consuming, and which may require a significant commitment of resources, both in terms of human and financial aspects, and if possible, to make them automatic. To automate them without having to open emails or download the files. Attachment. Enter the content of the attached files in the sheet. Excel. If possible, we should automate all of this, and it is certainly feasible, obviously feasible with Office 365. This will save us a lot of time and effort. So, what are we going to do? We're going to proceed, and we're going to immediately register it in our event planner. Obviously, in the pre-Congress phase, we will define the modules that we want to create. Obviously, we will open them in Forms without creating all the module entries. We will insert them as a topic in the pre-Congress phase of Planaire, and we will proceed with also the links so that tomorrow, when we start building these modules, such as the customer satisfaction survey with all the questions, we will click directly on it and we will build the module. Then, these modules will be sent to interested parties, by, for example, to clients regarding their experience at the Congress and to suppliers who provide us with their information and contact details, banking details to receive payments, and they will do it directly online. At that point, by doing it online, the data will be directly integrated into Forms. We will make sure that the forms should be automatically transferred using Power Automate to SharePoint, to a list that will be displayed with rows similar to those in Excel, and where this data can be easily viewed and exported to an Excel sheet if desired. To achieve this, I have prepared. So let's move on to our plan. I have prepared as I had done for the initial lessons. I have prepared what I need to do as before to create the entire course architecture. I've also established what I want to do for this activity. So here, I want to create these modules, and for now, plan the programming of the creation of these modules. We will give a name to this, the first activity we called in the lesson. Previous activity 1 to show how an activity was added. Let's go in here and modify the name of this activity, then choose this name. Which will actually be data from the SharePoint module forms. Thus, we will define here which modules we want to create. We are back here. Here, I'm copying and pasting everything I have translated via Google. I'll paste them here and we will read them together. You can pause the video and read them at your leisure in your language, comfortably and without rushing. So it's about the construction of modules in Forms and the configuration of a template. From Power Automate, which I will now show you, to collect responses automatically. In SharePoint, the responses related to the Congress registration. So that will mean that the members of Congress will enroll automatically and their data will be integrated into the SharePoint lists without us having to do something. Once you see how this is done, you'll also be able to create others, not just for activities related to the organization of a Congress, but also for any other activity professional. I have written them down here in the notes section of this activity, but we will also include them. Include in the checklist as they can then be visible as tasks for the members of Congress. Then they will be able to be seen as pending tasks. That, for example, we will also find in the task list to accomplish. So we will compile all these points, thus the recording to Congress, the registration, the data, and the contact information. Banking, the form for supplier quotes, and the form for the customer satisfaction questionnaire, so that we can also address it tomorrow. We can say that this task is completed. Now we will conclude here and see what can be done. In other words, there are options available. This feature that truly provides an exceptional environment with which we can create automations. There are indeed plenty. There are automations that handle tasks for us that we used to spend a lot of time on, but once set up, they do so automatically. Let's head to the template. I'll quickly show you what we'll be using. Of course, not right now, but after we've set everything up, the complete organizational structure of our event. Here we fill out forms and click Submit. And here is a collection of responses. In SharePoint, by using this automation, we will be able to collect the responses given by respondents in these forms automatically, and we will store them in SharePoint. I was saying, let's quickly clarify what these modules are. We have already established that, but here in Microsoft Forms, we are simply creating the A White form with the title. As you can also see here in Microsoft Forms, we already covered this in a previous lesson. So the environment dedicated to this group is the Office 365 Cardiology Congress has been launched. So let's go here and simply take these texts for create the form in the title without diving into it for now, creating the questions or other elements, data that we want to collect. So here we write and paste the registration for the Congress, the description. So here we have completed this first module and we leave it as it is. Let's empty this and go back. We are going to take this, another piece of data for collection and the bank details of the team members. So a new form, I'm pasting it here. Then here we can see a preview. We can provide the styles. We can do many things. Let's go back and create this additional module. So in this case, I'm sticking with this. It's to gather quotes from suppliers. Next, we'll move on to the last one, where we will build the satisfaction questionnaire next of the user. We've created all of them. Now, to find them very quickly, even from the plan, what do? In Office 365, all objects have an internet address. For example, this page has an internet address. If I open this questionnaire, it also has an internet address. So we return to our plan. I copy this web address. Then I return to the cardiology conference schedule. I reopen the task. And I paste it under the customer satisfaction survey. So tomorrow, when I need to create the questionnaire, I could click here to go directly to create the questionnaire and then share it with those who need to fill it out. Let's make some space here to paste the other questionnaires as well. So let's go back and get the questionnaire for supplier quotes. We copy the URL and return to the diagram. We paste it here and return to the form. So let's take the form for the data and bank details now. Overall, I'll copy it and paste it here. I'm missing the last one, so I'll go back and take the address, the online form for Congress registration. Control-C, copy and paste here below. Now that I have all the links, tomorrow I will proceed comfortably and without causing any confusion. I will also carry out this activity. We learned how the SharePoint site was created, as well as the main features available in the SharePoint interface. We integrated the plan into SharePoint for easy access. Accessible from this one in this environment as well, in case we need to operate there for other reasons. And we have seen what we will do with Power Automate. Namely, to ensure that all the data that respondents enter in the forms, even from their smartphone, they automatically appear in SharePoint lists without any intervention from us. It will appear like a sheet of Excel and similar to an Excel spreadsheet, very easy to access. In the next lesson, we will learn how to integrate the planner into Microsoft Teams. I will wait for you at the next lesson. Goodbye.